Well, you can call it a very small mattock, but a mattock, I don't think it's heavy enough to be useful for what the mattock was ordinarily used for. This was to dig primarily ginseng, and ginseng has been dug, according to letters and records and so forth, since the first settlers came here, and I don't know when and most of it, interestingly, was exported to China and maybe some other countries because they valued it very highly for all kinds of things, medicine and aphrodisiac and so forth. But some of the people in this country use it, but it's always been high, and I remember, well, in almost every old smokehouse in the edge of the mountains. You wouldn't have found these down in the Sweetwater Valley or in places like that very much, but the little log houses at the foot of the mountains and so forth, everybody practically had a ginseng hoe, and they were usually a little more narrow and a little longer, so you wouldn't want to dig up a whole big area. This was to go down deep and just beside the plant, and then you could pluck the plant out. I don't know what I think the last I heard it was bringing something in the order of $250 or $300 a pound. Sounds pretty high, but you have to dry it, and once you have a big pile and it looks like you're going to have a lot of income from it, it dries out just really, really light. But some people make, I remember a few years ago, several people could make a few $100s or maybe a few $1,000s. But there's some concern now about over digging, and people for a long time have been cultivating it. And sometimes you'll see little sheds out with a plank, well, about 2 or 3 or 4 inches apart to simulate the forest. Not too much sun, but enough sun. But the domestic ginseng has never brought nearly, I don't know how they can tell the difference, but it only brings maybe a half as much or a third as much. But it has still, people do it sometimes for, not so much for the money, but it's sort of a custom and a tradition, I think. So this could have been used, as a dual purpose. Some people use a little narrow hoe like this for hoeing the onions, but this was the fact that it has this cutting part here. If the ginseng was surrounded by roots of trees and things of that sort, you'd have to cut.
And that is a handmade tool. Sure.
Yeah, it's made out of a piece of scrap iron and twisted once there, and then these two pieces of metal, well, this piece of metal which is split, and which I believe, noticing now, is made of a small horseshoe. You see the groove there. And that went all the way through and was braided on the end, and it would never move or come off.